Hello, welcome to my video. Today I want to talk about something that has been on my mind lately pretty a lot, like a lot of the time. So it's basically a way for how to how I wanted to start actually implement the teaching part of my channel into the content. So my first video on that topic is going to be this one, and today is going to be I'm going to be talking about how I learned the first two out of the languages I know, the first two foreign ones that I learned and how I learned them. So let's start with Russian. Russian I started learning back in kindergarten. Back then I didn't know any other foreign language besides any other languages. I was a monolingual and knew only one language, my native language. And the way I learned is basically I got in kindergarten, my babysitter, or whatever it is called in English, I forgot, was a Russian woman, and she and most of the people that were there, most of the other kids, also spoke Russian for some reason. So I had to adapt, and I got exposed to the first way I learned is I got exposed to the language at a young age. It was a very young age. Remember, I said kindergarten, and that basically, I guess, motivated my brain to remember and start using. That's how I became fluent in Russian. Now let's move on to the second foreign language that I learned. It's English. I like I forgot to mention something about Russian. I also watched Russian content on YouTube and basically consumed content in Russian the same way I consumed content in English as well. That's one of the ways probably most of the people, most of other language learners uh, not teach, but learn these things. And let's move on to English now. I'm gonna make this video a pretty short one. I don't want to ramble too much. English, I started learning back when I was 10 or from 10 to 12 years old. I don't remember exactly. And that's when my family, exactly to be exact, my dad, he developed, not like developed, he showed me a way, like a method of learning languages in general, which I'm using to this day. And that's this method basically comprises of either one, consuming content, starting from scratch with simple sentences and words, like 5-10 words a day. That's how I learned English from 10 to 12, and till I was 17 years old, I was learning English and only English every day. Each passing, like every time it was too easy, I would increase the difficulty. For example, more words or more sentences, and that would give my brain like spark, like a way of not becoming too bored of it, and still keep learning. So I just learned till learned by heart. I wrote all the sentences and words in notebooks and learned them by heart. I already showed in one of my previous videos, which was like 3 weeks ago, I think. I showed one of my notebooks which I used for writing my Spanish sentences, and that's how I basically learned all the languages I know. Like right now, I know my native, Russian and English and Spanish, but I know a bit more. But I'm not that confident in speaking like the rest because I don't think I got enough time for learning them or practicing them with other people. So this is the first video. I tried my best to explain how simply start with simply how to simply start to learn languages and how to increase the how to make it more motivating and more fun to do it. You can also use YouTube channels and other YouTube channels, books, films, movies in those languages, which is also a cool way of learning, which I also used at some point. See ya.